Back on the newsfeed PM, thanks for staying on. The Cooperative Governance Department is urging South Africans to be on high alert ahead of the cold front expected to hit many parts of the country over the next few days. The South African Weather Service says heavy rain and possible snowfall are forecast for the Northern and Western Cape from today. The cold front is expected to move to the eastern parts of the country. CoGTA Minister Velenkosini Hlabisa joins us now for more on this. Minister, good to have you, and thanks very much for your time. Fresh from Geneva, coincidentally attending a conference on disaster risk reduction. What we have seen, at least if you like, in the last 5 years, is that when we have events of weather of this nature, where there's snowfall, whether there is heavy rain, whether there is low temperatures, somewhat it results in disaster. What are we learning in terms of how our systems are set that we need to now put in place to avoid such from happening?
Thank you very much, Thabo, and the viewers of Newzroom Afrika. Indeed, I just arrived this morning, 9:30 in Johannesburg from Geneva, where the G20 predominantly countries, with the absence of America, of course, we were sharing experiences of how to be proactive, not to be reactionary when it comes to disaster, and also exploring opportunities for insurance, that how to ensure the infrastructure so that whenever disaster hits, it doesn't take long to look around for money, but you approach the insurance so that you reinstate the infrastructure that has been washed away. We are in a process of reviewing the disaster management in South Africa, the management that is going to be agile, respond on time, and also concentrate on the resilience infrastructure, the infrastructure that will be able to withstand the difficult times in which you are living of disaster. And I come back into South Africa during a weekend where we are anticipating a bad weather. In Johannesburg is very cold, but I'm in Durban now, just landed after 1 o'clock. It is very warm, but in Western Cape, in Cape Town, it's heavy rain. And we are expecting from tomorrow, and especially Monday and Tuesday, the snow throughout the country except Limpopo. We are expecting heavy rains. We are also expecting the damaging winds, which we want to caution our people to listen carefully to all the communication that will be done through various social media platforms to avoid to be affected by disaster, if we can, then to respond to the damage.
Now, when we speak to the disaster risk management teams, normally we would highlight these 4 pillars. You've touched on at least 1 or 2 of them, but we could say in South Africa, maybe we are questionably so, at least becoming more active on the recovery and rehabilitation. We are always reporting that, well, we are prepared even now. We say teams are on high alert, there's preparedness. But the first pillar, which is, I suppose, the most important, is the prevention and the mitigation of the disaster to even strike in the first place. That's where one could say, as South Africa, we are still falling short. What are we doing to boost that particular pillar where these are foreseen and prevented, or at least mitigated, before they end in lives being lost?
As I've just returned this morning, it is part of addressing the area you are referring to, Thabo, because one of the truths that we must agree is that South Africa has not been experiencing heavy disaster like other countries in the world. We were looking at these instances from the distance, not knowing that soon they will catch up with us as a country, and we are there now. That is why we are working very hard to learn good practice from countries who experience disaster from term after term in a year as to how to mitigate before the disaster hits, and your response and your quickness in terms of recovery method. That is why I'm saying we are reviewing the disaster management system in South Africa so that we are agile, we are more proactive in terms of dissemination of the information, because what is very key, Thabo, is the information dissemination so that people are not affected what they could have avoided. So now our alert system, we are sharpening it so that we are able to read the forecast days ahead. Like for instance, as we are talking about Monday, Tuesday, and we are even anticipating Wednesday, we will be constantly conveying the information to make people to know areas to avoid. The snow on Monday, when it accumulates, we will quickly communicate which areas to avoid and which roads, if need be, close them down so that we do not experience what we have last year when people were trapped on the road. We are sharpening our system and we are on track. Yeah. Very soon, as we are putting together the information with my team, as I was in Geneva, it is going to take us far as a country, and also especially exploring the financial avenue in terms of ensuring the infrastructure. Yes. And ensuring that whatever money is spent on infrastructure, it must be a resilient infrastructure.
Let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, when you ask UNESCO, they'll tell you that you would need to invest at least in, as you say, resilient infrastructure, but not only that, good technology. Where are we spending our money, Minister? Or at least, how are we changing our framework when it comes to disaster reduction, where we are beginning to invest in some useful technology that alerts us on time?
Yes, we are spending a lot of attention in terms of technology. I had a meeting yesterday with the country that works at a global stage in terms of technology in order to cope with the anticipations around weather. And this team is going to be in South Africa in July, around 14 to 18 July. They will share their experiences, and with Treasury, together with the World Bank, we are pursuing options of tapping in to financial resources, because most of this advanced technology requires sufficient resources, which as a country we are also spending more focus now, because everybody understands that we are living in a climate change period, and this must be everybody's responsibility. From municipalities, whatever infrastructure that is built, it must withstand the test of the climate change. It must be informed by technology. It must be informed by advanced engineering knowledge, so that we do not spend money on one and the same project that is being washed away during heavy rains, because the engineering or the technical knowledge was very poor in the construction of the infrastructure.
Yeah. So the coined phrase there is build back better. So are we building better infrastructure as we recover and reconstruct?
Definitely. You see, at a national level, there is over a trillion rand on infrastructure. A key message is that that money, whatever infrastructure, must be resilient, must be informed by sufficient engineering knowledge. We must follow current technology, even in terms of the infrastructure that we do, so that we do not spend one and the same money on the same project due to disaster occurrences.
Now, you would remember, for example, when the floods hit KwaZulu-Natal and there was a need now to rebuild some of that infrastructure. One of the challenges we would have spoken to you about is how money would have been released, for example, to the local municipalities and so on and so forth. And there was this disconnect in the intergovernmental infrastructure. There was a lack of coordination, if you like, where local would have said, well, we submitted the form to province, and province says, no, the form is now with national. National says, no, we have not received that. And that created a lot of delay in money eventually getting to eThekwini to rebuild something like a bridge of some sort. So how are you providing better intergovernmental coordination and advice to the three spheres of government, I suppose?
Yes, we are learning from the experiences of the past, as you are referring to that instance. And you are rightly aware, Thabo, 2 months ago, I released the intervention in terms of money as a result of disaster. Although municipalities could not all of them receive that funding, but the coordination has improved. In the month of July, I will be also releasing some money to municipalities as we have started a new financial year. The coordination is far better. We are building on the experiences that we learned in the past, and we are going to follow this money. The one that we released 2 months ago, we are expecting the reports now. How far have they gone in terms of getting ready to spend the money? Those who have started to spend, we will do site inspection. We're not going to rely on papers only, so that even the one that we're still going to be releasing in July, people will have to know that we follow the money. The money should not disappear into wrong hands, which is something that has been the cancer in our country, but we are going to stop it because there will be consequence management if we find that the money cannot be accounted anymore.
So what is the message right now, Minister, from national to your teams at provincial, at local government, but also as opposed to the communities at large, residents of the various parts that are going to be affected by this weather event?
The message is, one, I want to thank our teams from local, provincial to national who are standby, who are following all the developments. And I want to appeal to all our people. Let us listen and heed the call from the South African Weather Services, from our government spheres, MECs, our mayors, our councillors. Let us be very vigilant. It's already cold in Johannesburg. It's already raining in Cape Town, Western Cape, very cold in Eastern Cape. It's still warm in KwaZulu-Natal. Tomorrow, let us start to be vigilant. On Monday, we are expecting snow as well as on Tuesday. If there is a need to close the road, the people who are using that road, if they are being redirected, we are requesting the highest level of cooperation because this is to save lives. It's not to delay you. Those who can delay their trips on Monday and Tuesday, they better delay and see once this focus is gone, probably on Wednesday, they can undertake their trips. Let us be alert. Let us respond to warnings and cooperate accordingly and not resist.
So Mfula, we appreciate you. Thank you very much for coming on and your intervention this afternoon. That's Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs there, Velenkosini Hlabisa.